What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Human Proof Designs broadcast. We are with Duke from episode 36. Now, if you guys remember Duke previously, that was a couple episodes ago. So, welcome back, Duke. Oh, looks like
We lost it for a second.
it actually sounds better now. But yeah, so Duke, last time you were on the podcast, we talked all about building a huge authority site almost that in your case, and I think you were trying to publish 400 articles.
Yes. Yeah, it ended up doing that and learned a lot. I hesitate to say it was a smashing success because it wasn't a smashing success, but it was profitable and I learned a lot. So we can go into what the takeaways was from that site later, but yeah, it was quite interesting.
Awesome. Yeah, we're definitely going to dive into that. Another big milestone in your life is that this is now a full-time thing for you. So you
Full-time
full-time with
gig.
you're full-time with these content sites. How's that feel?
Uh, Nice. I mean, it in some ways because I liked what I was doing as a pastor, but uh, it's really nice. It's freed me up, and now I can start doing some things like guest speaking that I've always wanted to do and couldn't do.
Awesome. Like guest speaking on podcasts like this?
Well, not just on podcasts like this, but guest speaking at other churches and that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. So really kind of balancing it out between being in front of a computer all day and
Yes.
actually speaking in front of an audience.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, why don't you catch us up on what's been going on since then? You know, how long actually have you been full-time now?
Since January.
January. Okay, so it's
Yeah.
fairly fresh. What's your day like now in comparison? Are you working on your sites a lot?
Well, I already had the freedom before because I was self-employed. I could choose what I was going to do when. So I already was able to put in a good amount of time. Now my day's kind of like I get up at 5 o'clock and work from basically 5 a.m. to noon, and then I'm done for the day. And I go do whatever I want to do.
Awesome. For those in the audience that don't know, Duke has about 3 sites, right?
Yes.
That help you in your portfolio. How would you describe those 3 sites?
Well, my first site is it started off as my personal blog way back in 2011 or 2010, 2011. And so it was basically, I had been writing for the local newspaper. And so I took those articles I wrote for the local newspaper and I put them on a blog, and it ended up becoming successful. And then I learned about SEO and took it to the next level. At that time, it was branded with my name and a couple other things. Eventually, I moved it over to a different website, geared it more towards social media than SEO, even though it's still very much SEO oriented. In fact, it still gets most of its traffic from SEO. But I have had, I think it was 6 articles over the course of the last, let's say 5 years, that have gone viral. And my definition of viral is 30,000 visitors with on a certain article within 1 week's frame of time. In fact, I had one that honestly, it was mind-blowing. It was basically a video and a little bit of commentary, and it went viral on Facebook, got onto the trending stories, and had over 1.3 million views in a week. And so, in fact, it broke. At that time I was on Media Temple hosting, and it broke their hosting, and I got booted off. So that was quite interesting. So that's that's been my primary site until 2 years ago. Then I was looking for a different way to monetize, because within the ministry niche, the Christian niche, there's not a lot of advertisers, not much demand, and the revenue stinks. So I started looking at Amazon affiliate sites, and I looked at you guys and read all you had, and I read Authority Hackers stuff on their website, and ended up stumbling into Doug Cunningham and Cunnington and his sites, or his site, and I thought, okay, I'm going to do a test project to see if this stuff actually works. And so I built a website out, still within somewhat of my level or my area of expertise, but that had products and had things that people were searching for. And so that became my concept site. And I wrote 70 articles for it, put it up there, and it made money. So then I thought, oh, I found something that makes money. And so then I went and tried to do a general product review site, which was my large site that we were talking about at the time. And I have this personality that at times when people say don't do something, I do it just to see if what they say is right or wrong. And so I had people and heard people say, don't do a general product review site. It's too competitive. Well, it is very competitive. And so it was not as much of a success as I wanted it to be, but it is profitable. It is in the black. It's not, it hasn't cost me money, but it hasn't done what I wanted it to do. And so last November, December, I was comparing my initial Amazon site, my concept site, versus the product review site. And the return on investment on the niche site, the concept site, was so much higher. The user interactions on the website was so much higher. The click-through rate, the conversions were so much higher that I went, why am I putting all this money in this big site? I ought to put it into my original concept site. And so starting 1st of December last year, I have been focusing on it.
So you've got 3 sites. You've got a social media site. You have this niche site essentially, and then you have a general review site.
Yes.
I want to know what the traffic numbers are for those. So if you could rank them, does the social media one get the most amount of traffic?
Yeah, it by far gets the most amount. It fluctuates between 45,000 and 60,000 visitors a month.
Okay. And how about the other sites? Where did those other 2 sit?
The general review site right now is at about 12,000 a month visitors.
Okay.
And the niche site that I have been focusing on is now at around 21,000.
All right. So okay. So the highest one is the social media. The second is the niche site, and the third is the general review site.
Yes.
Out of all 3 of those, which one is the one that makes you the most money?
The niche site.
Gotcha. Why do you think that is?
Well, last I checked, and this was, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks ago, the niche site actually provides me a return of about $112 per 1,000 visitors.
Neat. So
$112 per 1,000 is pretty darn good. Where the social site, I'm doing good to get $10 per 1,000.
Right. So
and
now you're kind of measuring stuff in terms of RPM then,
yes,
per mil.
yeah, yeah, yes, exactly. And the general review site is around $60 per 1,000.
Do you know what the social media one has?
Yeah, it's about $10 per thousand.
Okay, so what I'm trying to, I guess what I'm also understanding now is that you are probably leaning more towards the affiliate model versus the advertising model.
Oh, absolutely. Make you can make 10 times the income if you do the affiliate right.
Awesome. Well, in episode 36, we talked all about building out your content clusters, which I think was kind of
Yes.
the first time we had really spoken about that concept
Yep.
uh, on the podcast. And a cluster is really just a non-formalized way of saying a category or a silo on your
Yep.
site. So don't think
Yep.
too hard about it, guys. It's just a different way of saying that stuff. But with silos are very tight and they don't really allow you to to link to things that aren't necessarily relevant, whereas a cluster is slightly more open and stuff like that. So if you can kind of think of
Exactly.
it as a category on your website, that's the concept. So what were your takeaways? You mentioned that
The
you
content
learned a
clusters,
lot.
yeah, the content clusters work, and I still use them. Um, in fact, I'm starting to learn now. I'm testing. I'm in the testing phase, but when I have a main money page like best product for whatever, and I wait to kind of see where it ranks, then I start adding content around it. And so I'll post 5 relevant articles that point towards it. And I watch to see the rankings, what happens with the rankings. And I will continue to point content towards it until it stops affecting the rankings. So it works. It may not always get you to number one, but it'll definitely make getting to number one a lot easier and a lot cheaper.
So what you're saying is that you actually produce the commercial content first
Yes.
without building everything else. You just
That's what I'm doing now. I didn't at first, but that's what I'm testing now. And I'm seeing the results.
great. And did you learn this? So what I'm hearing is that you kind of picked this up while you were doing the general review site then.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, it was kind of a little tidbit I got from a YouTube show with Clint Butler and Kyle Roof and those guys talking about interlinking.
Okay. What about that was it? Is it exactly
It
was
was
it?
just, he was saying that's how he did it. And I thought, boy, that makes sense. I'm going to try that method. That way you get all the internal power you can first before you try starting sending other stuff to it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's a lot of people in the audience, I think, that sometimes have the idea that building out links is something you have to do immediately, and you can get pretty far without building links. I'm not going to
Yeah.
say that you can't get. I'm not going to say that links aren't valuable because they are, but
Yep.
certainly I think having more content out there that targets low competition keywords is
Yeah.
certainly the better way to
Well,
go.
yeah, most of my articles rank without link building.
Awesome. So, what other lessons did you take away from building the general review site that you're now transferring over to your niche site, which, by the way, is doing awesome? Because that's the reason
Yes.
why we're talking, is because I looked at your niche site the first time, or not the first time, just a couple, maybe last month, and it is. I mean, it's at the top of its game right now.
Yeah, it is. It's, I'm smiling. um, some of the takeaways I got, first of all, is that when I first built the niche site, I had kind of come to the end of my ideas for keywords to add to the site. And so I thought, well, it'll just always be kind of this little tiny niche site that makes me $500 to $800 a month. And then I went to the general, And I learned that it works to do single product reviews, not just best X for Y, but actually brand name, product name review, and doing single product reviews. And as soon as I realized that, all of a sudden the door opens wide to thousands of products within the small niche site. Um, Second thing I learned is actually it's a takeaway. My general review site was product orientated. It was all just about products. My niche site is actually about a certain demographic of people that would use the product. So it is targeted towards people, whereas the general product review site was targeted towards products. I get much higher conversions. I get much more user experience interactivity between the two sites, and they have almost, except for colors, they got the identical theme, identical layout. The way I did things was basically the same. The product review site, average time on site is between 3 and 4 minutes. On the niche site, the average time on site is between 5 and 6 minutes. The I have on the one side, on the product review site, the average actions is 1.4 per visitor. On the niche site, it is between 1.8 and 2 actions per visitor on average.
Nice.
And there's nothing different except colors and focus. People do not look at the second site as a attempt to sell a product. They look at it as this site is helpful for me.
Awesome.
And it's just where it's focused. You could do the same thing. I was thinking about this morning. Everybody hates attorneys. They hate lawyers. However, lawyers could be a niche of people, a demographic you could target with if you like tech. How much tech do attorneys use? You got printers, you got copiers, you got phones, you got all kinds of different tech. You got software, tablets, laptops, computers, you name it. You could do a site, and here's a freebie for somebody that wants to jump out and get it. You could do a site on technology for lawyers.
Yeah. Okay. I definitely see what you're saying. So now you've shifted your mind in terms of focusing on, it's really more about the people.
Yes,
the
exactly. Yeah, you can do the same thing for single moms, single dads, man caves, or men and men products. As long as you were focusing on a people group.
That's certainly how I've kind of thought about the difference between. There's always this battle of niche site versus an authority site. In my opinion, a niche site is a site that is kind of it's almost too focused on a specific product, we'll call it. Mm-hmm. Whereas an authority site, yes, concentrates on products, and all authority sites start off as niche sites, mm-hmm. but they start caring more, or at least the future is thought about more about the actual community that you're trying to drive to your website to build around. That's why some of these sites, they'll start off with with just the general reviews, and they've got the content, the informational content, and they may even start implementing like a forum or something like that to really help the rest of the community. And mm-hmm. that's just, kind of going up market, but it's, if you kind of set yourself up, especially like, let's say even your domain name, if you leave it in a way that's more flexible to attracting those types of people, then yeah, I think you're setting yourself off in the right foot. And domain names really do make a difference. I mean, I can certainly go on Google and and look at a domain name and say, okay, I would rather click on that one than
Yeah.
something that's a little too scammy.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Anything that's hyphenated, pass.
Yeah, totally. All right. And, actually, before we go on past that, there was a part where you mentioned that you are really focusing on these review sites, not review sites, on these individual reviews. And one thing that I've noticed about your Amazon site, the one that you're focusing on right now that's doing really
Mhm.
well, is you rank for a lot of, actually, not a lot. You rank for, at least, you rank for certainly a few e-commerce keywords.
Yeah.
And you don't know
It,
why.
by accident. I mean, it makes sense. And there is the thing where the Google wants diversity in their results. So I might be getting the benefit of that. But when you do product name or brand name, product name, review, I am getting ranked on brand name, product name, the short tail of my long tail.
Are you doing anything particular about the with your articles? Last time we spoke, one thing that was quite popular, I thought, about how you do your content is that you kind of have these accordion style
Mm-hmm.
reviews where everything is kind of hidden until you click the link, and or not click the link, click the accordion, I guess, and
Right.
it lengthens out everything.
Expands.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I tried it, I worked on it, and I did not see the user metrics that I wanted to see. So I stopped doing it.
So now your life is more simple.
Yes, it actually is more simple and just goes down. I have I have a format that I have my writers use. In fact, I think I got it from you guys in your list of how you got a PDF or something uh, that gives a basic formula for product reviews, and I think I got it from you. So, anyways, I have them do that, and uh, one thing I do, and I maybe this is part of it, is that in my SEO, I have my brand name product name review in the title, the meta title, the meta description, and one H2, and that's it. The rest, I have variations that include brand name, product name, but not review. So that might be part of the reason why I am ranking for brand name, product name.
Could you repeat that again? The areas that you are using those
I
specific keywords.
I use my full keyword in the title, the meta title, the description, and one H2 tag, one H2 heading tag. The rest is just brand name, product name. I don't even have it in the content, the full thing. I don't have the word review in that in the entire content.
Is that on purpose?
Yeah, basically, just not to over optimize.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
I think Google penalizes certain types of content at times. Uh, best X for Y. If you have best in there too much, you're going to get nailed. I think review it. I think they just kind of filter that a little bit. It's
Mm-hmm.
my opinion. I got no scientific evidence to back it up. It's kind of what I've seen. So I have brand name, product name in H3s all the way through almost the entire thing. And in the content, 2% ish or so, but not brand name, product name review.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, in these sorts of things too, I think it's good to always start off with like a formula or basically an SOP. Go with that, see how it works.
Yes.
Obviously, all things are, every niche is completely different. Every keyword is completely different because there's competitors that all
Right.
have different formulas. But yeah, so get that stuff in, set a standard, see how it goes, release the content, and then just start tweaking tweaking the ones that matter more.
Exactly. If I have something that's stuck, at 20 or below and has been there a while, hasn't moved, that's where Google has placed it, then yeah, I will go and maybe I'll bold the brand name product name or italicize the brand name product name. Or I might just add the keyword one more time in the content someplace. Be easy to do and see what happens. But I start off with that process.
Awesome. Awesome. Before we leave too, the one thing that I just remembered is that whenever I'm doing meta descriptions, what I like to do is I actually just like to go and Google kind of do a manual search on Google, see what
Mm-hmm.
comes up, and then go and look at the title, look at the meta description itself, not just the title, but look at the meta description, and you'll often see bolded keywords in there that
Yep.
aren't your actual keyword, but see what you can do,
Yeah.
pull those bolded keywords out and try and wiggle them in. I don't know how, I forget how long those character lengths are, but it's not enough personally.
Well, yeah, it's not. And yeah, you're right. If you can have more of those in, it helps, even if it just helps with click through because there's more bolded there than other people have. At the same time, what Google is showing you there, I believe at least, is that those words are related to that search query. So if you put those words in your content, you make your content more relevant to what that search query is.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Well, let's switch gears because I want
Okay.
to talk about keyword research. When we had
Mm-hmm.
our intro call, you were telling me about something that was pretty interesting, actually. So there were, I think, at least variations of the KGR that you had
Mm-hmm.
mentioned, and then also this modifier that you were using as well.
Yeah. Um, my last content blitz that I've done for my niche website, uh, I have done, well, by the time this latest order is delivered, I will have over 500 articles on the site. And I started with 70, so that's 430 new articles. All of them, I'm trying to make sure I'm not fibbing here. There might be a few that are not, but probably 400 of them are one of three different types of content. Either they're KGR, which everybody knows Doug Cunnington and the KGR formula, 250.25, that whole thing. Or they're rule of 63, which is what you guys came up with when talking about content that's over 250, as long as it has no more than 63 in competition. And then my own little thing is that if any of them have 20 competition or less, I don't care if it's KGR or not, I will still go for it because I know I can rank if there's 20 or less. Now that's personal for me because I know how my ability in doing on-page SEO. But if there's 20 in competition, doesn't matter if it's only 20 search volume, 10 search volume, 0 search volume. If there's only 20 competition, I'll go for it because I know I can rank.
What do you mean by 20 in competition?
All in title results.
Gotcha.
So let's say I'm checking out best printers for lawyers. And there's only, and so I do all entitled best printers for lawyers. There's only 20 articles that have that in the title. I'll go for it. I don't care if it has 0 competition or 20 competition. I'll still go for it because I know I can rank.
Do you edit all these articles yourself?
I don't write them, but yes, I do all the editing. I do all the, I get them in a Word doc format, and I will paste them into it, and I will adjust the H tags, and I'll make sure the grammar is good, and I'll create a Pinterest friendly image to put uh, with the article, and maybe add a couple other stock images. And I'll add the Amazon call to action boxes I use, because I use Content Egg plugin. And so I'll add all that, and I'll post them. So I can post between 5 and 10 a day.
Oh, okay. That's quite a bit. So in terms of the KGR variations, you've got the three really. You've got the original KGR,
Right.
you've got the Rule 63, and then you
Right.
kind of this all in title, anything that's less than 20. And
Yes.
that is you just want to dominate that basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I can do that. So that's that. Now, here's an interesting modifier to find your topics that maybe don't even show up in your keyword tools or whatever. It's a variation on the autocomplete. We've all done best uh, best printer for, and let Google autocomplete it to find the autocompletes. But what if you want to find, instead of printers, you want to find what's best for lawyers? So instead of letting the autocomplete, you go best asterisk for lawyers, and it will give you autocompletes for that section, because an asterisk is a wild card. It means whatever you have. And you can do that along with alphabetizing, like best A asterisk for, and it'll give you all the A's, all the B's, all the C's.
Oh, very cool.
I came up with 32 best articles by doing that.
How do you assess that? Because we had the call previously, so I was kind of exploring this a little bit. And are you like adding quotes around it, or are you
Nope.
just okay? So it's just best asterisk for
Yeah. 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 And you can actually go, it caused his, it worked, but it caused it to lag. You can go to Neil Patel's Uber suggest and use that same modifier, and it'll spit them out.
Oh, okay, that's interesting because that's exactly what happened to me when I was trying that. Basically, Google. If you do too many weird searches on Google, they'll block you for a
Yeah.
little bit, not long or anything like that. But okay, so you're saying that Uber Suggest also includes these modifiers, and that is a faster way to do it.
Yeah, it caused, it was probably a minute delay while it was thinking, but it finally spit them out.
And with these kind of this wild card search that you're doing there, how are you deciding whether or not you should go for these? Because it kind of just pops up a whole bunch of them, right? Are
It
you
does.
still filtering it based on the KGR?
I'm filtering it based on volume, and I use keywords everywhere, and then on KGR to see the competition. Obviously, if it has 10 volume and 400 competitors, I'm not going to bother with it. It's not worth fighting for 10 volume. Mm-hmm. But if it's within the KGR rule of 63 or less than 20, I'll take it.
Awesome. You mentioned Keywords Everywhere, which is an awesome tool.
Yeah.
Is that your toolkit really? Are you using any other keyword tools?
I've used Ahrefs, but honestly, it's too expensive on a monthly basis. I will buy it sometimes for 1 month if I'm focusing on keyword research and that kind of stuff. But as far as a monthly recurring tool, no. I just use Keywords Everywhere now, and all in title. I do have SERP stat, but that's because I got it with a free one-time deal through AppSumo to where it was cheap. It was like $50 and I have it. So I can use it. Neil's tool is actually starting to do some good things. So I think eventually he's going to cause those guys to have a run for their money.
I'm certainly agreeing with that for sure. There's
Yeah.
been a lot of talk about Uber Suggest recently. I've seen, and for good reason, because it's a good tool.
Yeah.
It's a good tool for sure. Let's we talked a little bit about the link building habits
Mm-hmm.
that you've kind of started now. What does that kind of look like?
Well, it looks different than what a lot of people do. I'll be honest with you. With the large site, and I'll put this in quotation marks, acquired 10 newspaper links and 20 guest posts. And there's a reason I put it in quotation marks, acquired, instead of outreached. And I didn't see a lot of movement. I was honestly, it felt like I wasted money. Um, so I started rethinking the link building thing. And so the first thing I just started a little over, well, 1st of March. Yeah, so 6 weeks ago. I hadn't done any link building of any note really. I hadn't done it for over a year. And before that was just minor link building on the niche site. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to try some link building on the niche site. First thing I did is I bought a press release, and that press release has an iframe in it. Now, what a lot of people don't realize, and a lot of people put down press releases and say, well, it's just pillow links to hide your gray hat SEO blog posts and whatever. Done right, a press release with an iframe has a do follow link, because that iframe is actually a do follow link. Your other stuff in your content of your press release is no follow, but that iframe's do follow. And so, and I've done press releases before, and every time I do a press release, it causes a site to dance. Now, why would it cause a site to dance if they were all no follow links and had no bearing on rankings? That doesn't make sense. So I did a press release 1st of March. It caused the site to dance, which I kind of expected. I then started at the same time doing HARO, help a reporter out. I figured, hey, if I can get some high authority backlinks for free by reading an email once a day or 3 times a day and responding if I happen to see anything, that would be worth it. Well, I've gotten maybe 20 pitches out, maybe 30 pitches out, something like that. And I've already had one for sure on a website. And I know another one that's coming that hasn't been published yet that I'm aware of. And then I also have the opportunity. It was great. It was off the cuff, but for my original website, my ministry website, there was a question that I had an answer for. A gal writing for the New York Times about why do people say God bless you and the origins of the word. I happen to know the origins of the word, and it goes all the way back to medieval times and people believing that when you sneezed, you were expelling a demon. And so they would say, God bless you for doing a holy act. And so, crazy, but that's where it comes from. Anyways, can you imagine what a link from the New York Times is worth?
A lot.
A lot. So, HARO's a very good white hat link building method that'll never get you in trouble. So I'm doing that. And then, and on top of that, I also built out a profile on Scoopit. Are you familiar with Scoopit? SCOOP.IT. That's their domain name. That is a website where content publishers go to find sources for articles. And they will look at you post up your articles, or, not the entire article, just a snippet and what it's about to Scoop It. They do a search. They find that you have spoken on this topic. They can go to your article and then use it as a reference. So it's actually for reporters and content producers to find content to reference. You with a free account, you can showcase 50 articles that you've done. So you take your best content, you put a little snippet up there about it and stuff. It's fairly easy to do, and you get 50 links from that website. Plus, people can find your content to source. So I have that going on.
Okay, interesting. So I've never heard of Scoop It. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. So it's kind of like help a reporter out, but it's not.
It's
more like
it's
a
kind of
search
the
engine.
opposite. Instead of reporters asking, reporters go there to search.
And it's a big site? Like,
Yes, it's DA over 90, I believe. Over 1 million
Okay.
visitors a month.
What have you gotten any?
I think, I'm not sure. I got a link to one of my reviews from Business Insider. I mean, that's DA 9495.
Yeah, definitely.
So, what's that worth? It was a do follow link too.
Hopefully at number one position.
Yeah. So that's another one. And then I have a social media tactic that I use. I have 7 social media platforms that I use. I will share 5 of them because 2 of them, well, they're just too good to give away. So I use, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and LinkedIn. And I use Flipboard. And what's the other one? Oh, that's 5 out of the 7. Yes. All of those are people understand and know for the most part. Pinterest will drive you traffic if you do it right. My product website, the product review website, it gets about 100 visitors a day from Pinterest, which that's not bad for
nothing.
Leaving stuff up there. Yeah, for free. And but here's the difference. We all know, okay, yeah, post to our own social profiles and, hope somebody sees it and clicks through. I'm not doing it so people will click through. I'm doing it for link building, because if you add hashtags to your post, say, for instance, again, best printers for lawyers, you see it, printer hashtag, #, or yeah, that's what we called it. But hashtag printer, hashtag printers, printers for lawyers, all the different things that go along with it. Maybe the brand that you're doing, like Epson printer. Come up with 6 to 8 hashtags. Include those in your post. When you publish that, then that goes to 6 to 8 different pages that are topically relevant and are not built by you. They are built by the website. They get indexed. And so here you have Facebook that has built a page that even if it's no follow, Facebook's DA99, there's going to be some trust. There's going to be some authority that flows through it, even if it isn't link juice. And all of a sudden you have, well, last night I promoted 5 articles. I built 300 I built 2,450 links over 7 networks.
And you're doing this all manually?
Yeah, it takes me 15 minutes. I take the first paragraph of the article, I write out the hashtags, I write out the link, I copy it all, and I just paste it as I go along.
Interesting. Interesting. So what you're saying is that, like, if we were to use Facebook as an example, you're saying that there is a Facebook page that just ranks for that keyword.
Well, I'm not saying it ranks. What I'm saying is that if any hashtag that you click on goes to a page that is all about that keyword.
Mm-hmm.
So for instance, if you put a hashtag on this affiliate marketing on this video, that would then become a hyperlink to a page about affiliate marketing with all the different posts about affiliate marketing.
Interesting.
But it's not something a person, or it's not something an individual put on their feed. Those that I think are discounted horribly, and the pages are discounted horribly. It is a page that is actually built by Facebook, and they're the owner of that.
I get what you're saying now. Okay, so it's just a well, it's kind of an interesting hack, actually. Okay.
Yeah. So listen, I have been doing it now since the first part of March, and I'm seeing my articles rise. So I can't say that it was just this one or just that one, because the press release should have increased some of my domain authority, and the Hero links should be helping a little bit, but I have been steadily doing this, and they've been steadily rising.
My hamster wheel is turning right now. So I'm trying to think. I'm like, okay, what if we try this on YouTube? Like, how is that going to work on there?
If I did it, well, I don't know. Does YouTube use hashtags?
YouTube has hashtags, yeah.
I would use them then, because then not only is your video being promoted more to relevant audiences, but all the links you put in your YouTube description are going to be there as well, I would imagine.
What I want to talk about Pinterest, actually, because I don't know why I have this weird love with Pinterest, just because it's such a unique platform.
Mm-hmm.
You can get such long tail traffic from Pinterest for a while, regardless of whether you're actually putting in any activity in there. What do you have any tips on it? Like, I don't know what your Pinterest expertise is.
I wouldn't call me an expert, but I think I know what I'm doing. There's a couple things. First of all, your profile needs to have a keyword rich description. Even if, let's do the lawyer site again. If somebody does a lawyer site, we provide guides, tips, reviews for on technology used by lawyers. That would have a good amount of keywords. Then each of your boards needs to target something like printers for lawyers, tablets for lawyers, laptops for lawyers, software for lawyers. And then on each one of those, you would put guides, tips, reviews, articles on laptops for lawyers. Then you would do your pin. And your pin needs to be long, which means you got to make a decision on your featured images, or how you're going to do your featured images on your site. So you can include a long image and not a wide image. So you need a long image. You need a nice professional looking image of the product or the topic you're talking about. You should probably put a title on the image of some kind, like a little bar at the bottom of the image, and then put, best laptops for lawyers, with, a color background of some kind that matches your website. And then maybe at the top, just put your domain name, laptopsforlawyers.com or whatever. Put it up there. So uh, you then put in, and then you have your title is SEO optimized of your article. You then put in a description that has, again, the keywords in it. Are you looking for the best laptops for lawyers to furnish your law office? Check out the 5 laptops we have decided are the top laptops for lawyers, or whatever. You put in all your keywords or your description, then you put in your hashtags, and then you publish it. Well, it doesn't work right immediately, but within 60 days, you are going to start getting some traffic if you do that. So I have actually turned all my websites. I'm turning the ministry website over now. I'm in the process of doing a revamp of it. All of my featured images now are Pinterest friendly, not horizontal, but they're vertical. And it actually has caused greater click-through rates in the site.
Oh, interesting. When you talk about this, a keyword optimized title on Pinterest, are we talking about keyword research on, like, from Google that you're applying to Pinterest, or
Yes.
are we talking about keyword research inside of Pinterest?
Well, you could do research inside of Pinterest, but I have just done what I've already done for Google, because I don't think Pinterest users stray that far from what they're searching like on Google. So if they're searching for there might be some longer tail, but best laptops for lawyers, well, they're going to do best laptops for lawyers on Pinterest, unless they want to do best laptops for mommy lawyers or something. But I'm being a little facetious.
Yeah, I mean, I think for something like Pinterest, I feel like there's the long tail and there's the fat head, I think is what it's called. I feel like most searches are probably nearing the fat head area on Pinterest, just because, if you're going to do a long tail search, you're probably just going to go on Google.
Yes, I think so.
So I really only have one more aspect that I want to cover here, and that's conversion rate optimization. Are there any tips that you can share with the audience about CRO?
That's probably one of my weaker subjects, but this is what I've done. First couple of paragraphs, I got a hyperlink, a text link going to the product on Amazon. Shortly thereafter, I have a call to action box. Because I use Content Egg, they actually have a really cool one that not only just has one box, but then you can click a tab and it shows all the features. You can click another tab and you can see all the images that are available, and you can click the buy button as well. I don't actually use a buy button. My call to action is learn more. And it works quite well. And it has the little add Amazon underneath the button, so we're all kosher and everything. I then go through more of the content, and then I put another call to action button at the bottom of the post. In my best lists, I have learned that most of the time, a top 10 list is too much. It's overwhelming for people. So instead of trying to do a top 10 list, editor's choice and all that kind of stuff, I now, when I do a search for the keyword, best printers keyword, I will look at all the subtitles or the also search fors, best printers for such and such, best printers for the money, best printers, da 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 da. And I will use those as my categories in my best list so that instead of top 10, I have 5 different printers for 5 different needs. And so in that, I have the overall best. I have a lot of times I'll have overall best bang for your buck, best budget. And then I will have best for color copies, best for black and white, best for legal documents, whatever your subcategories are.
Gotcha. That's pretty interesting. So that, and I could totally see what you mean now, because now you're really starting to cater to the people that are
Yes.
searching and demographic.
Yes.
And that's been the mindset shift. Well,
yeah, for instance, I can take it to the attorneys again, because this is what I do for my niche, only it's different categories. Best printer for divorce lawyers, or best printer for legal, for tort lawyers, best for, catering to that niche.
Okay. Do you? I think I've pulled out all that I can.
Okay.
Do you have any final words or any pieces of advice to the audience? I mean, you've just went full time. I think a lot of people definitely want to be in the same position as you.
Honestly, I started in May of 2011 on an ugly blogger blog. I mean, it was bad. We would get the Butt Ugly Award for blog. But I started, and I started writing, and I started putting things out there, and I started researching, and I started learning. And I made a lot of mistakes, and I made a few victories, or I had a few victories. But in the end, over time, I learned, and it got me to the point where I'm now full time. The key, some people are a lot smarter than me, and they can do it in 2 years. It took me, what are we now, 8 years? But the key was not having everything perfect. The key was doing it and not giving up, and learning, and being willing to learn. And the biggest key for me is learning how to make money with Amazon or affiliate products. I'm now doing Amazon, I do eBay, and I'm now starting Udemy, which is courses that go along with my niche. And so,
why not?
Why not? And so, honestly, I know, I've been on the YouTube channels, I've watched the chat, I've seen the comments. There's some people that are continually saying, I'm gonna, and keep on looking for more information. Stop looking for information, go make a blog and start. You will learn more doing that than going around watching shows all week.
Absolutely.
So, even though shows are helpful.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for coming onto the show, Duke. Hopefully we can catch up with you after you've published all 430 KGR variances. I think that'll be a really interesting follow-up to this, and you'll be the person that's been on the HPD podcast the most, basically, at that point.
That'll work. I love you guys. You guys have been great. Brad has been wonderful. In fact, if I can get just personal here just for a second, my wife, who I'm teaching how to do this, but that takes a lot of prayer and a lot of patience. My wife, who she asked me one day, if anything ever happens to you, what would I do with this? I don't know what to do. And I said, one of the people I told her to contact if something ever happened to me to help her walk her through the process of selling was Brad.
He's gonna
So
love that.
yeah, he's a good guy. I mean, and I told her, now he'll probably want to charge you, and that's okay, but he will walk you through the process if you need to sell my sites.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Well, thank you. I'm sure Brad will listen to this episode. If he might even be watching live right now. So, again, guys, thanks for tuning into the Human Proof Designs broadcast, and we will catch you all next week.